Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Resident Evil Code Veronica X. In the last part, we finished off our portion of the game as Claire, and now it's time for Chris to get some time to shine. Namely, we gotta save Rodrigo from the Gulp Worm. This fight is not too hard, especially if you have enough ammo left in the assault rifle, as you can just kind of fire away whenever it's up. With that said, you never want to run away from the Gulp Worm whenever it's trying to attack you, whenever it comes to surface. You want to run laterally to it. Run to the left or right from it, not behind or towards it. Whenever it's standing up, you might have enough time to get enough bullets in that you can just kill it within maybe a minute or two. It's not a very hard fight, but I should note, I believe it does have an instant kill. But I can't quite remember how the instant kill works. Like, if you have to be lower on health, and then it can, like, swallow you whole, or if you can just do it, period. With the distance that you should be keeping from this enemy, though, you don't have to worry about it too much. Honestly, it's only when it does little quick drive-bys like that you really have to worry about getting touched, I find, in this fight. And if you are lower on health, there are some herbs around the room, and you probably had some in the item box already as Claire, so you should be fine.
Hold on! Don't give up!
Looks like I can meet my family again. Here, take this.
What?
She gave this to me as a token of thanks for saving her. I won't need it anymore. Take it.
And so we get back the lighter. I feel really bad for Rodrigo, honestly. Like, he worked for Umbrella, yeah, but from what I know about his backstory, like, he was kind of born into the job because his family lived on this island to begin with. I just feel bad for the dude. He was really in over his head. With that, though, last part, I didn't really talk about it directly, though I showed it off. There is a little relief in the previous room that had a dialogue passage on it, like, light my fire to access something or other. This is the main reason you want to get the lighter as Chris, as at this point, I think it's the only way to get this item, period. As well, I think the lighter allows you to get some very minor things later on, like get around some bats. I should note, though, when we did leave Rockfort Island behind as Claire, there were a number of items I can no longer grab because I'm not going to be able to get the lockpick anytime soon. By and large, they are all first aid sprays from memory. Maybe one has, like, handgun ammo in it. Nothing super, like, needed. But there was a full guide. There is, I think, a full guide of where you can use it on, like, the Resident Evil wiki somewhere in that site. By and large, I got all the things you want to get out of with lockpick so far, since I picked up every Duralum in case I could. The only real thing I lost out on is maybe the acid rounds from that one shelf, but oh well. But since we have access to anything that Claire had, you can really pick any weapon set for Chris moving forward, as long as you stored away a lot of them. The grenade launcher is the one you're really going to want, same with the bow gun. Dedicated line on my right hand. Seems like I can put down the stone lid. Put the stone lid down. And this shows us our reward for getting the lighter. 2 submachine guns are placed here. The exact same type that Steve had. Speaking of which, the section of the game where we played as Steve earlier on when we got the submachine guns for him, I believe the cutscene after that, I forgot to mention this, the cutscene after that, where you're, like, talking with Steve and Claire in front of that weird face statue, the dialogue there does depend on how many zombies you kill in that section. I didn't bring it up because, frankly, there's no real reason not to kill everything. We'll be using the submachine guns later on, but I'm going to save its ammo a little bit for now because there's a particular enemy type who it's extremely effective against. We'll talk more about that later on, though. Also, something I've always found really weird. They despawned the Gulp Worm, but not Rodrigo. I don't know why. That just feels wrong to me. It feels kind of disrespectful. But then again, I can't remember how Resident Evil tends to handle dead bodies of characters otherwise. Like, Marvin in the Resident Evil 2 remake, he just becomes a zombie outright. But, like, the one I immediately think of is... I'm not sure if you say go back into the room with Enrico's body in Resident Evil 1, if he's still there. Or if you go back to the room where Richard dies in the original Resident Evil, if he's still there. Because there's not really many reasons to go back there at those points. Less so in the remakes, especially in Richard's case, because of how his fate gets changed up. But... I guess that might be the only case where I really see a character's body after they die. Huh. The battery's been removed. Well, shit. We're back where, actually, Steve killed the father zombie, right near where the tank is in the military training facility. Despite us being back at Rockport Island, Chris has a lot less access to Rockport Island than Claire did. By and large, he only really has access to the military training facility and, I'm forgetting the name of that portion of the area, where the Hercules plane was for Claire. I don't think he can really go to explore the palace or anything else. If he can, I seldom try to because I realize there's not really much of a point. Now it's our turn to go beneath the tank. And I always laugh looking back at that cutscene where Alfred boards the plane and moves the tank himself, because you can see that handgun ammo I just grabbed in that cutscene, and it stands the hell out. Kind of spoils the fact that they're probably going to be back here in some form later on, because there's no way you could grab that ammo beforehand, but oh well. And here we got some more green and blue herbs. Even though we're not back in Antarctica, there are still a lot of enemies that can poison you during Chris's section. And notably, we also have some shotgun shells. You get to find shotgun ammo a little bit before you can even find the shotgun, because I don't think you can go find that until after you've at least found some ammo no matter what. Now, this save room's a little interesting. It has some ammo for you proper, like some acid rounds, some more handgun ammo, some healing items. But it has a puzzle that's completely optional in it. And it's not even optional way of, if you get it, you get something super handy. You get something that unlocks something for the battle game that you unlock after beating the game. That's been in the series since I think Resident Evil 2 was what started having that. I actually may have been Resi 3. I forget exactly which. I never like to mess around in it. But doing this puzzle will allow you to unlock another character for that mode. I'll probably talk more about the mode itself during the credits, but we might as well handle this puzzle while we're here. We got this special set of drawers that are color-coded. I believe it is blue, red, green, and yellow. Lava burns forest, flows to sea, forms the earth. That is your hint for this particular puzzle. Lava is red, burns the forest, which is green, flows to sea, which is blue. Something seems to have come off and clicks. Open which door, creates some earth. We have another Luger replica. This is not a weapon, it's not a key item that does anything, it just unlocks the ability to play as Steve in the battle mode. So you can just immediately store that because it's kind of pointless. Bragging rights, I guess, technically. I like that there's at least some optional puzzles like that in the game, period. Because that's very much more of a, in my eyes, 6th generation console onwards sort of thing to do, not so much a 5th generation console like the... Well, actually, I guess the Dreamcast was a 6th generation console, wasn't it? Because Sega's real 5th generation console was the Saturn. Just didn't do too well here in the States. That was more of a Japan hit console. I never really thought about that. Mind you, with how quickly Sega released things back in the 90s, easy to understand why I would make that mistake. And here we have the battery pack for that lift back in that other room. But also right here, a relief of it in the shape of the eagle plate. There's a hole where the halberd once was. We even saw Alfred use one of those. And now spiders. You don't even need to kill these. I just kind of get rid of that one so it can't poison me and then run past them because another one does spawn in later on. But that does show us what our goal is ultimately for the Rockport Island of Chris's story. We need to get a halberd to open that door, but as they said, that's only found in eagle plates, and we can only get to one of the eagle plates, the one that we use here in the military training facility. That's our goal for the moment. Like I said, you can't even, I think, get to certain portions of the rest of the island. I think the prison's completely gone, and I think a lot of the palaces as well, as the consequence of the switch to Disc 2, so they could add more rooms to either section. So it's a little slow, but welcome to our main way of getting around the military training facility. An elevator that lifts us up to right about where Claire and Steve fell down several parts ago. But we also have a chemical storage key, as well as, I believe, a chemical storage note. I think this is what it's called. Report Enhanced Anti-Decay Alloy. Although we plan to utilize this enhanced anti-decay alloy called Deploy to create a storage capsule for the new BOW, we have had to cancel the plan. This is primarily based upon the fact that despite its excellent resistance to all kinds of liquid, including strong acid, it easily dissolves when soaked with a mixture of the two chemicals Clement Alpha and Clement Sigma. Due to the lethal nature of the new BOW, we cannot be too careful in choosing the material for their storage capsule. We have decided instead to use Deploy to create the plate portion of the Eagle plate, which shines in indigo blue. Clement information. The Alpha type is used for gun maintenance and possesses no conspicuous characteristics. However, the Sigma type will change its color to blue at a certain temperature. It is an odd coincidence that the temperature is exactly the same as the date of the completion of this facility. Based on our analysis of the Sigma type, we believe that Clement possesses more features. As new information is learned, we'll update the file. Well, clearly, they never learned any more features. So, we need to find an eagle plate to get a halberd out of it, because we can melt the eagle plate using those two chemicals, which are two other items we need to grab and find. That kind of just outlines our entire purpose here on Rockfort Island as Chris at the end of the day.
There was a friendly but naive king who wed a very nasty queen.
Who is that?
The king was loved, but the queen was feared.
Alexia? No! She's already fully awake. Chris, oh little fishy, come see my hook. Chris, I'm sending some company to keep you entertained. Consider this a small welcoming gift from me. Enjoy.
If you're wondering why they hid Wesker's face somewhat in that cutscene, it's because that's the original scene he shows up in the original Dreamcast release of Code Veronica. As we mentioned back when as Claire, that cutscene that introduces him to her was added for Code Veronica X alongside a couple of other cutscenes for him. Kind of weird, they just kind of throw him into Disc 2 and he's just there spawning new enemies at you even. Oh boy. More on what he sent towards us in a few moments. Well, there goes the eagle plate, and I guess it got electrified for some reason. So, we need to find a way to get down to where it now lies, thus extending Chris's stay here a little bit. Thankfully, the military training facility is pretty evenly split up between its 3 floors, so it's easy to find your way around in here. In fact, honestly, Disc 2 I find to be a lot more interesting than Disc 1 in terms of the amount of back and forth you need to do, as at least, while there's a lot of it, it's between a smaller area. It's not like Claire where it's go all the way to one side of Rockfort Island, then all the way to a different side, and all the way to a different side for each individual key item subtask. But now we can also go down this staircase near the face statue and find ourselves the shotgun. However, we don't want to grab it yet. As you might notice, it's on a weird frame with some hangers holding it. Like in the original Resident Evil, if you pick it up, it triggers a switch, making the staircase we just came down rise back up. And we were going to want to go back up and down that staircase a couple times before we grab the shotgun. It's more or less there to taunt us for now, really. And welcome to the bioweapon, I guess this would be the storage area. This is where the Tyrant escaped from when Alfred released it earlier on in the LP. And an annoying thing about starting off is, Chris, we're back to the default inventory size, so it can be a little tight to hold everything. In fact, I believe coming up I even do a several minute long backtrack because of what I'm about to grab. It seems to be a control panel for the capsule. Push the switch. That lowers that capsule, preventing, I think, an enemy spawn later on. But on top of the capsule is also the only refill of assault rifle ammo in the game. This is partially why you want to grab the assault rifle as Claire and then store it away, because it's more useful for Chris since he can get more ammo for it. Now, honestly, I should have backtracked to an item box right there, but I go forward anyway, and I think I end up wasting a healing item because I just don't have the inventory space. Don't grab that shiny on the right side of the screen yet. Instead, come into this room. In here is not only a bit of ammo for the shotgun and the handgun, as well as, I think, a blue herb for an herb combo, but this is where we need to use that chemical storage key. Now, we're going to be calling back a bit far for the information we're about to use. But if you remember in the painting room where we used the skull painting, saw the model of the military training facility and all that, they mentioned the completion date of the military training facility. I can't tell which of these is useful. Set the temperature? We need to set the temperature to reveal which one of these is the Clement. The facility was completed on December 8th, so set it to 128, and it will change the Clement's color to blue. That is a puzzle that you can technically find the information for just by going back to that room, since we're at the military training facility right now. But it is a bit out of the way to remember that if you only saw that earlier in the game. So that's one Clement down. We just need the other Clement and the Eagle Plate, and we'll have what we need to leave Rockfort Island once and for all. With that, though, time for me to make a several minute long backtrack so that I can have space to grab the item we need to do anything else. It's rare I need to do this in a Resident Evil, and if it's going to happen in any of the games, it's probably going to be this one and Zero, because they are the games in the classic series I've played the least. So I'm not too angry at myself for doing this, but I do have a moment of, damn it. Because we're frankly very close to where the inventory size increase is for Chris. So I probably could have gone over there and grabbed that first even, but oh well. Still, it's good to get the ammo upgrade into the assault rifle just so we can use that later, because the assault rifle is pretty useful throughout the entirety of Chris's campaign. Well, I shouldn't say Chris's campaign, more so Chris's scenario, because this isn't like Resident Evil 2 where the two discs are two separate sets of cutscenes with a different character playable on each disc. This is more like Claire is half one of the game, Chris is half two, and it's part of the reason why Code Veronica is just such a long game in comparison to every other classic Resi. Control panel for the turntable. There's a keyhole. And apparently we don't have the key for it yet, so we have to go find that first. And here we got a doorknob. Bit of a weird item, but okay. Run the hell away, because the hunters are back from Resident Evil 1, and they still have their instant kill if you're low enough on health where they jump and decapitate you. Although in this game I think they're more implied to slit your throat more than anything. But they now come with a partner. The Seekers. The Seekers, the little weird robots that Wesker sent after us. If one of them spots you, a hunter will then spawn in the room. But unless they don't see you, if they don't see you rather, a hunter will not spawn. There's very few hunters just in an area in the game. I think there's only like 4 or 5 that are just permanently spawned in a room. So if you can avoid the Seekers, you can avoid the hunters. And the Seekers are only able to see what the weird little light they set out of their eye can see. So if you don't touch that, you don't have to worry about fighting hunters. If they do touch that, you have to worry about fighting hunters. With that said, hunters in this game, they're still deadly, yes, but with the amount of weapons you can have, they don't have much of a chance against you. The submachine gun and assault rifle especially are very good against them. as they can easily get comboed by them, just stunned on the ground over and over again. So in that regard, because of the amount of ammo you can have to start, I'd say Chris's scenario half of Code Veronica is arguably the easiest campaign in a Resident Evil game. Even in the international versions where there's only one difficulty, I actually misspoke about that several parts back when I was talking about how you get like double ammo on easy mode. That's only in the Japanese version of the game. I really wish it was in other versions because I figure it would make for a much more interesting experience, but oh well. So the way to this room is just now completely destroyed. Instead, we now go from that room over towards where we fought the first Bandersnatch, over to where we saw the Bandersnatch smash that guy's head in on the window. But this is where we can now get ourselves the side packs. Now we have the inventory increase. It's probably even better to go this way before heading downstairs, as it allows you to grab that before heading towards where we saw the first hunters. And that allows us to go through this door to head back towards the main entrance to the military training facility and use the doorknob. You can investigate this door as Claire, but there was no way to open it. Notable, in the previous room, where we got the side pack, if you didn't grab the bowgun as Claire, it'll be there for Chris. Same with the document that was next to it. A bit weird to get that this late, but oh well. But now that we have the doorknob, we can come over here and get ourselves the tank model. I didn't showcase where we could use this earlier on in the LP, but if you think about where the tank is in real life, where would a tank model be used? If you're thinking the painting room, you're correct. We need to go use that there. I should also note about Seekers. Don't worry about setting them off and then just immediately leaving the room if you're next to the door. Especially if you're not going back to that room, because I think the moment you re-enter the room, the hunter is either just far away from you or has despawned, and they won't follow you through doors. So you don't really need to worry about fighting them ever, really, unless you actively aggro them on purpose. I do know there are people that like to try and kill every single enemy in a Resident Evil game. I'm not one of them. I just try to just do the puzzles and get through as best I can while conserving ammo. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 12, we're going to see where we can go now that we have some more items here in Rockfort Island. See you guys then.